Back to the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, and today my co-host is Mr. Calvin Johnson, who has come aboard to help recycle. To help the Business Zone. I'm all into recycling our dollars. The Business Zone.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, right. That's an excellent thing, actually. The Business Zone, and I am very excited to have him. We are very excited, Gilbert and I, to have him on board.
Well, thank you.
I'm
excited to be a part of the team.
Great, we're glad because it's such an asset, and it can help us do some stuff that we don't have time to do. And in lieu of that, and it's going to segue right into our guest. So he helped put this together for us, and we're so pleased to have Mr. Joseph Collins on our show today. And he is the CEO of Punch TV Studios. And this is pretty revolutionary. These are the type of businesses we should be building and growing in our communities, things that have a real impact, that can get our message out, and to be able to help our businesses be able to achieve the economic success that they deserve to have. So I'm going to, before we bring Joseph on, I'm going to actually read his bio, or a little bit of his bio, and then he will add on and contribute the rest of the information that we need to know about him. Joseph knows what it means to succeed in the face of adversity and life's challenges. Perhaps it was his spirit that helped make him a successful innovator in the television industry, as well as a true entrepreneur. He landed his first break in the television industry when he earned a coveted internship in the Research and Development Department of WVTV in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, now a Fox affiliate. Collins diligently participated in all aspects of the television station, from working behind the cameras to becoming a showrunner. And he became interested in tackling other challenges, so he moved on to music video production, managing all aspects of production. He did not only produce the videos, he also met with top executives, raised corporate funds, and managed production staffs, incorporated major celebrities, and created distribution channels for his videos. He produced and directed more than 200 music videos and quickly became known throughout the industry for the excellence of his productions. And so we are so pleased and so happy to have him on the show today, and he can tell us a little bit more about what he's done that led up to him becoming the CEO of Punch TV Studios. Are you there, Joseph?
I'm here. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for being on the show. So that was just a little bit, and I always say that when I'm having a conversation or I'm reading from a piece of paper, that is really more of a flat type of introduction. So why don't you liven it up for me?
Well, I was born the son of a sharecropper.
Okay, there you go. That's the good start. And so how did you come from being the son of a sharecropper to the CEO of Punch TV?
No, television has always been my passion since I was young. And I love television. I love everything about movie making and everything about everything that has to do with television. I've loved since I was a child. And now for me, it's more that I'm walking in my passion, or I'm walking in my vision that I've had for my life. And it's just been pretty interesting as we've gone through. But as becoming the CEO of Punch is a dream that I've had. I started it back in, it's been about 10 years now. And I'm telling you, it's been a roller coaster ride, the learning curves, and to be now being successful has been quite a journey. And but I've loved every step of it, every step of the way I loved.
That is fantastic, because I don't know if you caught the first part of this show. This month, we're focusing on Black businesses and the supporting of our businesses in our local community. But a lot of our businesses start with a very small concept, and they never really move out of from that small concept into something as big as what you've achieved here.
Yeah.
Have you?
I think that, we're not as big as we want to be yet, but I think you just have to believe in yourself And if you believe in yourself, you just got to keep going. You have to believe that you have to dream. You have to get the capital in order to execute your dream. And that's what we're doing right now at Punch with our IPO, selling our stock at $1 a share. It's been about getting the capital so that we can really build a business that can sustain the test of time. And I'm really thankful that our community has really embraced Punch TV Studios from across the country.
So, and when did your journey, when did it start? How long have you been working toward, and what led up to you becoming an IPO?
Well, for me, it's always, for me, when you're a small business, you take your own money, you go out there and you make things come together and you make things happen. But for me, it's been more about, how do we get the capital to do it right? You got to hire the people. You got to be able to pay people a salary so they can live their lives and help you execute your dream and your vision. So how do you get access to capital has been one of the biggest things. And for me, because, of my background and where we're going, getting access to capital is quite a challenging thing. Now it's better because of the IPO, but certainly one of the challenges for most small businesses is how do you get access to capital so that you can really execute a very good business plan. And so that's been one of the champion things, and us doing the IPO has now given us the capital to where in the next couple months or so, we can begin executing our business plan. And I'm really excited about that.
Oh, fantastic. So how long when was the company founded?
Punch TV Studios, which is in the IPO phase right now, was founded in 2014. Punch TV overall was founded about 10 years ago. I want to say, what is it, 10 years ago? 2008.
Okay.
2008.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. So that's really that's a pretty short period of time to have accomplished what you've accomplished thus far.
It didn't feel like it to me. I'm going to tell you, it didn't feel like it. We got some very painful days, okay? Very painful days.
Very painful. So what have you...
Joe has skin in the game.
So what have you learned over this over this last, 7 years?
I learned that, one, you got to have the right people helping you to be successful. And I think it's all about the people and all about the team that you build around you. And helping your team help you be successful. I think that is the most important thing that you can learn. And I made a lot of wrong decisions early on in choosing the wrong team members. And now I think for the most part, I think I kind of do it right. And we really spend a lot of time trying to find the right people that fit the vision for Punch TV Studios.
Okay. How many employees do you have?
I think we have about 20 people that work here right now. Give or take.
Oh, fantastic. So right now, you would be what would be a penny stock or
We're not
equity?
penny stock. Now, a lot of people have that. I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of people have that misconception. We're not a penny stock. We're actually in the IPO phase.
Okay.
And what happens in the IPO phase, this is where you're buying the stock, or the people that are buying stock for Punch are buying the stock before we begin trading. When we trade, I'm pretty confident we're going to open way over $80 a share or so. I'm very confident. So we'll never, if we execute a good business model, we will never be a penny stock. And basically, there's nothing wrong with being a penny stock. It's just that those are stocks that trade under $5 a share, and you can't make NASDAQ when you're trading under that low. $4 a share, you can't make NASDAQ. And so typically companies that don't make NASDAQ, they trade over the counter.
Right.
And they call those over-the-counter stocks penny stocks. But I don't think Punch TV Studios is going to be one of those. But if we have to do that, we will.
Okay.
And I'd be very proud to be a part of that and to do what we're doing on Wall Street. And it's just a matter of where people can buy your stock. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Exactly. And but right now, no, we're in an IPO phase. We're not a penny stock. We're just in the IPO before we begin trading.
Fantastic. So is there an estimated, I think I read something that is that happening soon?
Yeah, we're going to be closing the IPO to the public on on the 21st of this month. So we'll be closing that to the public on the 21st. And then we've set aside some shares for some nonprofits, which we want to be a part, work with some churches and some things like that. We set aside shares for groups, and we want to get those all tied to the groups. And then once that is, we'll be totally closed out, and we'll be working on our shareholders meeting.
Okay, fantastic. I have to get my shares. In fact, someone, I don't think it was you. Someone else came to one of our Recycling Black Dollars breakfast mixer a number of years ago, and I misplaced the memorandum, and then you came back to me again. So now I know that it's time for me to...
I'm always around. I just that was probably me at that meeting. Like, hey, we need to get ready to get you some stock in Punch TV Studio. That was probably me.
It probably was.
I just stick. That's one of my bad,
and so here you are again. So now I'm gonna
hang on to you.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad you did. So you came back.
Excuse me, Joseph, pardon me, Cal Johnson. You currently broadcast on DirecTV, is that correct?
No, we're not on DirecTV. We have 5 TV stations across the country where we broadcast on. Where we have a TV station in Houston, Texas, in Beaumont, Texas, in Jacksonville, Florida, in Pensacola, Florida, in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm getting ready to launch a new station in Atlanta, Georgia. So those are our stations where we're on right now. We're not on DirecTV yet, but after this IPO, we're going to see what happens.
Okay, so it's online based now, right?
No, we have terrestrial TV stations if you're in the markets that I just mentioned, but you can also watch us online. We do a live stream on our website at punchtvstudios.com, so you can definitely see us online.
Okay, and now there's a studio on Pico and Fairfax?
Yes, that was our studio on Pico and Fairfax. We're not there anymore. I guess we use it if we need to use it, we can use it. But, we kind of went down lean and trim, and we have something else cooking right now. We're going to see how the pot boils in the next couple months, but we have something else cooking.
Okay, I like that. I like things cooking.
Definitely.
I have a young man that's here, and we're going to introduce him, but he's very excited to meet you. He's 22 years old, and nice. I was just so impressed when I met him last week. And he's all into the stock market, and he understands it. And I think he's starting an investment club, or has an investment club.
Those are nice. Those are great to have.
Yeah, and he's been appointed as a youth representative for the city of Los Angeles under Martin Ridley Thomas, and his name is Brennan Holly. So would you like to say, because I know when I told you Joseph was going to be on the show, you were really excited. Would you like to say hello to him, ask him something?
Oh, yeah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely phenomenal. I'm doing awesome, stupendous, superlatively supreme.
Oh, wow.
And I'm sitting here all my awesomeness, so I'm great.
I'll take some of that.
Man, it's really an honor to be talking to you. We was talking briefly last night,
yes,
about investing, and you mentioned IPO, but I've noticed that you also mentioned about penny stock. So I wanted to just ask a few questions, and I wanted to figure out, what was your opinion on preferred stock? Do you have companies in mind that you would offer preferred stock to instead of an IPO, as far as for the public?
So most people have a misconception that preferred stock are better than common stock. Most times public companies use preferred stock to guarantee debt. So if I was going to take out a loan from somebody, then as a way to guarantee that debt, I would issue preferred stock for that loan. Right now, I believe in paying things off and staying out of debt. So we're not issuing any preferred stock with Punch. All of our stock right now is common stock. Even my shares of stock are common stock, and we're going to keep it right there for a while.
Awesome.
I don't intend for the company to get into debt anytime soon.
Yeah, well, definitely starting out as a new company, that's something a lot of new business owners should definitely stay on top of. You don't want to. I think a little bit of debt is okay, just depending on how you leverage it.
I think if you can operate in debt and you know where your time, like if only way I would probably even consider taking on debt is if I knew that I had a payment coming from a second source that would cover the debt. I believe in equity, but if I had a payment source coming from a secondary source that was specifically designed to cover that particular debt, I would look into it. But right now, I'm totally an equity player.
Oh yeah.
That's fantastic. So what are so some of the things I was talking today, and the show, the Business Zone, is all about how do we create an economic wealth within our community. And I do know that the road to wealth is through the stock market and through real estate and the holdings that we have. But you at one point were a small business owner. What advice would you give to our businesses, someone that was just starting a business or been in their first 2 or 3 years of business?
I would say find the capital first, because a lot of times we don't, it's going to take 3 to 4 or 5 years maybe before you can get a business off the ground. And most of the times we don't have enough money to sustain ourselves for that time where we're trying to figure out everything. So if you have money, I think one of the mistakes I made was I used all my money in my business, where I should have used my money to raise more money. And that would be my biggest thing that I could tell to anybody. Find the capital first and structure your corporation. You want to definitely be a corporation, and you want to find the capital, be a corporation, and find a good team of people to work with you. I would say those are I think really 3 key things that I think where I felt like I might have made mistakes on in the past.
Did you have a mentor as you started this process?
Good question.
No, because when you talk about you're going to be a billionaire, there's not a lot of black people in the community.
You couldn't find one that he wasn't on the corner. He wasn't down the street at the gas station.
And even my own parents. I mean, my parents, they were blue collar people, so they couldn't even teach you how to be a billionaire, and I remember even when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, I just needed somebody to teach me how to make $10,000 a month. Right. Because I figured if I could, and I didn't have anybody in my circle that could make that knew how to make $10,000 a month. And there was only one guy who, people used to make fun of him because he would make $60,000 for the year, and then he would take the second half of the year off. And so, when you're in the African American community, taking the second half of the year off, you just don't do that. You got to have a job.
Exactly.
But had I thought about it then, of course, I would have, I would have really went to him as a mentor. But I've been able to do a significant amount of reading. And I got to have a very great conversation one time with Famous Amos. Famous Amos gave me some of the most phenomenal advice, and I've used that totally. So I had to try to mentor off of other people like Ted Turner, people like T. Boone Pickens, and these kinds of guys. You kind of use them and what I could read from their stories, and try to use them as my pattern to this is how you create wealth. People like Michael Milken and those kinds of people like that. And what I find is most of them started in stock initially, and then they sold interest in their companies, and then they had the capital to build great companies, and then they moved on to whatever was next or whatever they wanted to do next. And I think that we as African American people, we have to really look at how do we capitalize our companies initially. And we have enough wealth in the African American community to do that. So we just need to figure out how do we capitalize our businesses and how do we help other people become successful. And my thing even today is, even with our shareholders, is if I can help my shareholders become wealthy, I will become wealthy because I'm trying to help my shareholders become wealthy. Right. And that's kind of the way I look at it today.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And those are that's the process. And I think so many of our businesses don't quite understand the path. But again, they didn't have a mentor, but you sought one out. And that's what's important, is being able to seek out the people that are gone before you, and just really following in their path. And I find most people are very pleased when you ask them for advice. They're really helpful and interested in wanting to help you move forward.
And I'd like to make a comment on that if I can. It's interesting that you stated that because I found myself in the same position being and I just turned 22. So
Now,
I think it.
I remember when I was 22.
Right.
That was a long time ago.
Oh man.
I've done, man. I was something else at 22.
Man. But you know what? I think it boils down to the hunger that a person has. Like usually I come across a lot of people who say they can't do it because lack of resources or lack of mentorship. But I believe if a person really puts their mind to it and if they are very hungry in what they want to do and what they are passionate about, the sky is the limit. And I did the same thing that most people wouldn't do as far as what you stated. I read books. I went out and found mentors. I have a few mentors now. And my whole perception of finance changed when I got to be around successful individuals, not just African American, but other ethnicities as well. And seeing what they do, studying their mindset, and then studying success, like if you look at a Warren Buffett. Well, what was his advantages? He started at 12 years old. But we don't hear about those stories in the black community because that type of information or the lack of resource doesn't come as far. But I think once you're hungry enough, I think you can find those resources and you can utilize it. You may not be able to utilize it the same way, but I think that if a person truly have a desire for what they want, I think if they're hungry enough, they can find those resources.
Now, aren't you as impressed about him as I am? Because this is a
Yeah,
20.
but, I have to tell you, and I used to believe that because I started really young too. It's not about the resources, really more about the information.
Exactly. It's the knowledge.
You can't get the information, and then you got to have the interpretation of information. One thing that Bill Clinton said when he was in office and he got into the Monica Lewinsky scandal, he said, "What is the interpretation of the word the? What do you mean by the word the?" And that always was something that really stuck with me because we have to be able to interpret the language so that we can understand the definition of the word the, so to speak. And I think that if we can start the process of interpretation and expanding our minds, then I think the sky is the limit. I have to agree with that the sky is the limit if you can interpret the language, if you can interpret the language and then use the language for your benefit.
Most definitely. I think a lot of people, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship and finance, they become a bit frantic because of the language and because there's a lack of comprehension.
Right.
So
There
you
you go.
have exactly
Yeah.
you have the Wall Street terms, and people like me and you, everybody at this table, we would understand that
Right.
if we were to have a conversation about stocks or bonds or mutual funds or just investing overall. And I think because there's a presence of fear or a lack of knowledge within the African American communities, most of that fear is based on them not being able to interpret or comprehend these different financial strategies or just having an overall understanding of that, because there is that lack of fear and there's that lack of hope.
May I interject? That's why this show is so important, because we can bridge that gap and educate, inform, and enlighten. And that's the exciting part about it. Joe, I have a question for you, Joseph.
Yes.
With being based here in Los Angeles, obviously it's a media capital, and there are properties here of various types. You have your Kathy Hughes, you have your TV Ones, we have BET. How does Punch TV separate itself from the other properties out there? We don't have many. Tyler Perry has a studio facility.
Right.
Now, Punch TV is going to be in that light, I assume, but elaborate on that.
Well, we're different in that I got a chance to take a look at the inside of Warner Brothers, and I got a chance to see their internal structures on how they work. And I decided that I would build a company that was a lot like Warner Brothers, in that we make the majority of our money from licensing our shows, to other TV networks like TV One or like BET or like any other network out there, and we make the majority of our money from licensing our shows all over the world. And I think that that's the concept. There are a lot of actors out there. There are a lot of producers out there. There's a lot of directors out there, and they're developing phenomenal content, but they really don't have anywhere to make that content work. And so we want to put it to work. We want to put them to work. We want to create a lot of jobs and a lot of tell a lot of phenomenal stories about the lives of people that ordinarily would never get told. Do it in such a way where we make a ton of money doing it, and we can do the process over and over and over and over again. And for Punch, I just really liked what Warner Brothers was doing. So they had the network, as we do, and then they have the production capabilities, and then they have their interactive capabilities. And I just thought, I can do that. And they're cash rich. And I said, I could really do that, you know. And I really like that about that particular company. That's one of the things I like about the company. And, you know, and I hope in the future that, you know, we might end up acquiring some of those other companies who are today maybe perceived as competition.
That's actually fantastic because, as I said, we don't usually think on such a large scale, and that is so important. Brennan here, he actually is starting in your path because he started an auto engineering and music production company. So,
nice.
And we need to be able to encourage our young people, our millennials, our young men and women that are coming out of college, that this could be an opportunity for them to think outside of the box, because I call this outside of the box thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta understand one thing, that money is a currency, and to be in a currency means that it's got to flow.
Right.
So we as African Americans, we've got to, if your money is sitting in a bank, your money is not flowing for you. It's flowing for the bank. Wow. Because when you put your money in the bank, they take the money and they use it for different projects. And they just have it available when you need it. You know what I mean?
Right,
so
exactly.
We can understand the concept that money is a currency, and then use that currency to flow into our economy. There's just like a lot of things that we can do, and everybody wants to do something different. You know, you might want to be in a dry cleaning business or the music business, or you might want to be in the restaurant business, or you know, whatever your company might be, and we can create economies inside of our community that provide jobs for those who don't. Because I was looking at something, I was looking at a movie about Chicago, a documentary on Chicago, and how the lack of jobs has like spurred this crime wave in the city, because every man wants to try to do his best to provide for his kids and his family and his thing like that, but there are no jobs. And there's such a disparity of wealth. Well, we have to now, how do we use the tools that we have to now create jobs in these tough areas, and so that there's an economy in those areas? Because I'm telling you, if a man is going to work, he ain't got no time to do nothing else.
Right, exactly. And I think people would prefer to do an honest day's job and earn their own money.
You come home and you deal with your woman. You ain't really got time to do much else.
So very true.
Right.
By the time she'd be like, "Oh, honey, we need to do this. We need to do that. We need to do this." You know.
Right.
You ain't really got much time to do nothing. You'd be like, "Oh man!" By that time, it's Monday morning at 6 o'clock, and you're on your way back to work. So.
Exactly. and that's what we need to do, is put all our people to work, so that
put everybody to work. If I was running for president, that's what my agenda would be. We are putting America back to work.
Right, exactly. Just get them to work.
Anybody in America that wants a job will have a job.
Exactly. I've been reading a book called White Rage, and it's actually my book of the month right now. It was written by Dr. Carol Anderson, and she's talking about post-Civil War and what the obstacles that we had to overcome, but we were so determined that we were going to overcome our current circumstances and be self-sufficient, that we went through, everybody knows what we went through, but just reading that book is so encouraging, is that, and they had far less than what we have today. far as how to start their life, because they started with nothing. They were like flatline, man.
Right.
And that's so important. So one of the things that Recycling Black Dollars does is that we encourage our business owners to think bigger than your average T-shirt business. If you're going to do a T-shirt business, then be the manufacturer of the T-shirts, not just create a slogan on the T-shirt.
And manufacture the T-shirts, grow the cotton.
Right.
There you go. There you go.
Now you're talking. 100% owned.
Throw it together.
Now you're talking.
That's 100% owned.
Get your own cotton gin,
Do the whole, go from the front to the back, right?
The whole system, you know what I mean, if you're going to do it, But, and we can do these things by investing in companies that, that are doing these things. So if a brother wants to open a farm and he wants to sell cotton, okay, well, let's everybody come together like they're doing at Punch TV Studios. Let's everybody come together. Let's fund this business there. Everybody put in $10 or $100 or $1,000. Let's fund this business, help him to grow his cotton. And now the T-shirt guy, he can buy his T-shirt material from our own cotton person because he's in business, and we could fund the guy making the T-shirt guys in that way. And those are the kinds of opportunities that exist today for those that are forward thinking. And I see it happening with Punch TV Studios. I mean, you know how they used to have the old slogan, Black people never work together?
Yes.
I could never say that again, because I've had thousands of African Americans across the country who are buying Punch TV stock, who are believing that, who are giving us a chance and are believing that Punch TV Studios can change the world. And so we are working together, and we do have the power together to create something that's so magnanimous until it can totally change the world. And then we can buy companies that reflect our vision, or start companies that reflect our vision, or build companies that reflect our vision for our life. And that's, to me, that's just so important.
And it also it helps because even they're buying stock to help you grow your business, but at the same time, their stock is earning money and earning them money and appreciating that they then can take that money and utilize that in another business. So we're like taking one business at a time and helping them get to that place where they're raising their own capital, basically.
Correctly, and that's. And Punch TV is what I feel is like the catalyst for that, and what we're doing here is just totally awesome. It's just freaking awesome, and I'm loving it every day, really.
And I want to make a comment on that. I think that is an incredible way to really see the circulation of business funding just going from one business owner to another. Because if you're buying stock and that stock does appreciate, then you can take those earnings, the profit on that, and you can be able to, reinvest. You can, other business owners will be able to utilize that opportunity because they are helping Punch TV grow. So you start to see the circulation, and you start to see the compound effect.
100% correct. And I think that's where we have to do inside of our communities. We now have to create the compound effect, which I'm going to steal that phrase, the compound effect. I'm going to keep that one. A new book, the compound effect.
I think this might be your mentor. He didn't take something from you, so I think he has to give you something back.
I know, right? But you know what?
I feel my help coming now.
I know, right? I wanted to ask you, what is your opinion on personal development as far as developing more Black leaders within our communities so that they have the right mindset to take advantage of this type of opportunity, whether it's in Punch TV or a new startup business, and understanding why corporations need that startup capital. What is the process that you would think would be more better as far as developing somebody's personal perspective and their mindset, being able to evaluate an opportunity and not be closed-minded per se, to miss out on something, and then when you get older and you're like, that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity came and I didn't take it, right? You have a whole lot of regrets.
My opinion is leadership begins at home.
Yes, it does.
I'm old school, so to me, leadership begins with a good switch. You know, you
I like that. I'm gonna use that one. I'm gonna use that. I like that.
because when you discipline is everything.
Yes.
Like most people are not disciplined to handle large sums of money. So God can't bless you with large sums of money because you're not disciplined to maintain it.
Exactly.
So,
That's a
because
big one.
and discipline begins at home.
Mhm.
I mean, what you said is a very complex problem, and I don't think that there's no real one solution, but I do know it starts at home.
Mhm.
The sum total of me comes from my parents.
Mm.
My father was
Exactly.
very entrepreneurial. My mother was, very driven, and my mother was very a real strict disciplinarian. But I needed that kind of discipline to achieve what I'm doing now. So to have millions of dollars in the bank, you can easily go blow that money, right?
Oh yeah.
But discipline says no, because this is done for this, and this. So that's how you are able to use discipline. And
Right.
so I just think that just that just goes to your home training. And a lot of times right now, our home training is weak in our communities. And so our children growing up are doing any and everything with any and everybody,
Exactly.
Right.
and that is just not cool anymore. When you allow the system to tell you can't spank your children when the Bible says you spare the rod, you spoil the child. I'm just
Right.
saying, I'm not trying to preach to anybody, but I'm just
No,
telling
but
you
it's definitely the
it's
truth.
true.
It's the
So
truth.
what you
And
see now today is you see a lot of spoiled kids
oh
who
my
get
God.
the rod. You understand what I'm saying? So they can't. It's tougher now to make that transition. It's hard to change somebody's mind.
It actually is, and to
Very
be
difficult.
to
It's
be
like trying to make a mule jump.
it,
It's,
it,
it's like it's very difficult to change somebody's mind, and so people get in these mindsets and they get in these idiosyncrasies of belief, and that's just what they believe, and you cannot change that belief unless something phenomenal or something sparks something inside of them that makes them want to change that belief. And so even with Punch TV Studios, you get people saying, "Oh, you're obviously a scam," and I mean, I get
Oh
that so
wow.
much. It's a terrible thing. I said, "But wait a minute. How could we be? We've registered with the Securities Exchange Commission of the United States government. We've been qualified by the Securities Exchange Commission of the United States government. They monitor every single thing that we do in terms of this whole entire process to prove legitimacy as they would with any other publicly traded company. So it's just an impossibility. But because of the mindset of people, they just believe that even before they read it, or they just automatically assume that. How can a black man do an IPO? It just
Right.
that's just what they assume,
Right.
So it's
and
going to take an educational process. It's going to take people like myself and other people who are going to come along, who are going to see what I'm doing and say, you know what, that makes really sense. Let's empower our own community. Yeah, let's use our own dollars to start businesses in our communities in different areas, and then let's support those businesses.
Most
And
definitely.
that's the most important thing to me. I mean, that's the only way I can answer your question, being honest. And I'm sorry that wasn't the politically correct answer. I know I'm
Well,
supposed to say the politically. I got a list of notes here that tells me what I'm supposed to
well,
say.
no, it's okay. The business
But
zone.
that came from the heart right there.
Well, that's
and
what
that's what people need.
and that's what the business zone is about. It's about being truthful and giving our people the information they need so they can make better decisions. And one of the things you said, Joseph, is very important. I was groomed as an entrepreneur. I'm a third generation entrepreneur, and it's all about discipline. That is probably the primary characteristics of an entrepreneur, is that you're disciplined to stay on course while you're reaching out to achieve your goals and your dreams. And
Right.
so many people, and I am a business coach and a co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, and so I'm interacting with small business people all the time, and for them to stay on course is absolutely a feat. For them to stay, they get impatient. It's like, no, and everything is reciprocal in a business. Things change every single day, so you have to be flexible enough to be able to change with the course of your business.
Right.
That is 100% correct, and believe me, you've got to be flexible.
Yes, because
Just
things.
why the inflexibilities of a lot of the larger companies is why they're having such problems. If you take a company like Kmart and Sears,
Hmm.
the ability for them to be inflexible, they're very inflexible type companies now, and so you see them struggling in the marketplace. Where you have to be very flexible and very on top of what you're doing and kind of flowing with the way that is and try to maintain that cutting edge. And sometimes we get so comfortable in our successes or whatever until we lose that cutting edge, and having that cutting edge is everything.
So
Exactly.
what would
Cal-
be your sorry,
Joseph, I have a question though. I think it's excellent that you took the time to come on the show, and people are having a chance to maybe for the first time see you, hear you,
Can
and
they see
I'm
me? 'Cause
very
I can't see
impressed. You
nothing.
sound like a leader.
I'm sorry. What was that, Joseph?
Can they see me? Because I can't see y'all at all.
Oh, yeah. Actually, we stream live at morrismedialive.com.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me try to go over to Morris Media Live. I was like, where am I? 'Cause I
Or
can't.
you can see people. Yeah, so that's how you see us on morrismedialive.com. On Ustream, we stream live there.
I have one question for you that I think is really important with the political climate that we're in. The new administration and all, the FCC, black ownership of media properties has diminished over the past 20 years. And so you're kind of starting hopefully a new trend, would you say? Or what kind of feedback are you getting from like the political or business community that's associated?
For us right now, it's been really excellent. I don't have anything, really. I mean, I'm involved in politics, but right now it's not really my core thing that I'm involved in. But right now, for me, it's been pretty excellent.
One of the things that happened to you in 2016, you had an opportunity to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award, and that was signed by President Obama. That must have been pretty awesome. How did that come about?
Yeah, he should have been honored to give that to me. Now, you know what? I think that our President Barack Obama, was one of the greatest presidents ever. We are totally, I'm totally thankful to that man. I mean, he stood up and really showed America what a president, in my opinion, should be and should look like. And I just think he did an awesome job. And as a matter of fact, what we're qualified under to sell stock in our company is a program that he started, and it gives access to capital markets for the small guy. And to me, I think the president championing that bill and getting that bill all the way through to where now we're providing new jobs in our community right now as a result of what President Barack Obama did and the challenge that he took on with the Jobs Act. And I just think that he's like the greatest president ever. And I'm very honored to have received the Lifetime Achievement Award in media from him. And they gave me a beautiful pin to go along with that I can wear, and and a beautiful plaque. And they're going to do a presentation at the Punch TV Studio shareholders meeting. They're going to actually do the presentation of that award to me at that meeting. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited about that. And I'm just really honored, really, to be quite frank with you. I'm very honored that they would even consider doing that for me.
That is fantastic. I mean, you're just
Incredible.
actually beginning into the magnificence of what you're achieving. But that right there is like the greatest halfway point one could have as a milestone.
Incredible.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored. I'm just joking initially. I'm very honored. I'm very, very honored. Very honored.
Oh, yeah.
So, Joseph, after the IPO issues, what happens then? Now that once that settles, what's the next direction for Punch TV?
Sure. So after we close out the IPO, just from a stock point of view, we're going to close out the IPO. And then we're going to start preparing for the shareholders meeting for all of the shareholders across the country and in Canada to come to our shareholders meeting so that they can get direction on how the company is going to go, how we're going to do what's next. And we're going to vote on the opening price of the stock that we're going to trade at on Wall Street. And I intend at that meeting to come away with the shareholders giving Punch the power to market cap over $20 billion. And that's going to really give us a phenomenal thing, a springboard to work from. And then after we come out of that meeting, then we'll begin trading on Wall Street, and hopefully we open, at a very high price and maintain that price for the first week of trading.
And how is that? So that's from the corporate side of it and from the stock side of it. But
Right.
now, what are the plans for the actual production of your programs?
So we're going to be bringing in a phenomenal team, which I've already started putting together. I have Sid Burston, who's going to be leading our head of production. And I have another gentleman that's going to be working with Sid Burston, and they're going to start taking pitches on new shows and start taking pitches on, well, initially from our shareholders first and foremost, and then they're going to start taking pitches on new shows and new movies. And then once we get those movies, we're going to start putting those movies into rotation.
Oh, fantastic.
Development.
Wow. So exciting, so exciting. Any questions, any other questions,
No,
guys?
I think I've asked my questions.
I think for the youth, particularly because I'm the youth representative for Los Angeles, I think this is the type of achievement that they need to see, because there is a lack of
stream viewing experience. Enjoy live broadcasts
Oh,
and
got it.
videos without
I think
banners.
you have to turn the sound off of your.
I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
You need to mute yourself, sir.
I'm sorry about that. I was just trying to see.
Well, you can still see us. You just can't hear us because you can hear us through the Skyping. But it's been such an honor. And I know that many of my listeners, they were really excited about hearing what you had to say to help them make their final decision on purchasing the stock.
Yeah, you want to buy some stock in Punch. It's just you want to do it. You want to do it for historical purposes.
Yes.
I was on eBay last night, and I saw somebody selling a stock certificate that they had from the McDonald's Corporation when Ray Kroc first issued stock in McDonald's. They were just selling their certificate.
Oh, okay.
And I thought how awesome.
Right, yes.
I thought that was completely and totally awesome. We have our other company too, which is Punch Animation, which we are developing right now. And we have Leo Sullivan and we have Floyd Norman leading Punch Animation, and they actually work with Walt Disney.
Oh,
and
wow.
that's just something to know. I mean, Punch Animation, it's already trading. Punch TV Studios is the majority shareholder in Punch Animation. And and it's trading about 2 cents a share, but that stock is going to be absolutely phenomenal. That is truly a penny stock, our other company, but it's up over 2,100% since I took over the company. So you might want to take a look at Punch Animation, which is the stock symbol is URBT.
Okay.
Suppose that, if you don't have enough to invest in Punch TV Studios, you may want to invest in Punch Animation.
Okay.
And it's still going to benefit everybody. It's something to people to consider.
So, so you'll be doing most original content
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yes. We're going to be doing mostly 90% original content for the most part, so that and it should be really great.
So,
We're going to be developing. We're going to be developing new movies, new everything. It's going to be just really exciting. We're looking for stories. So if you got a story that you want to have told or whatever, please contact us. That'll be awesome and just really cool.
yeah, it sounds phenomenal. So yes, I'm gonna definitely get my stock. I actually had an opportunity in the early .com years to work in a company that was so I kind of got to see it from the inside. From my core skill set is in accounting, and so I worked in the accounting department, so I understand exactly.
Apple, which company? Come on, tell it. Apple, Microsoft.
I'm not telling you.
Tell me. I'm just thinking of Amazon. Don't tell me you can get no Amazon stock.
You may want to bring her on board, Joseph.
You don't be in the accounting department of Amazon and don't get you no Amazon stock. Don't tell me you did that.
I had some stock in the company, but I also have stock in another company. A really good friend of mine that I met when I was working in that environment. He actually has a company. It's an IPO. He's doing a lot of business in the Asian orient, and so we're waiting for him to. He's in an over OTC right now, so we're waiting for it to get to that position. And I've had I got a significant amount of stock with them, and we're really excited about that. It's such a different playing field when when you're in the stock market and when you're talking to companies that are going public.
It's different. And it's it just even having a conversation is really a good thing. It's just different, and it's a wonderful experience to be a part of it. And I know with Punch we have tons of thousands of first-time investors, and I'm really happy that they're just giving us an opportunity and giving us an opportunity to work with us.
And mainly in our community, especially because that's just something that has never been afforded to us. Even when we worked for companies and you had pension plans, you didn't know how they were investing your money.
Oh, yeah.
You just you just knew that money was being taken out of your paycheck, and you left that all up to them. And so for those out there that are listening, and also there are many of you that's been on Facebook that said that you couldn't hear Joseph, and you couldn't hear Joseph because you need to go to morrismedialive.com and you can see the whole show. But I will be the show will be available on YouTube after when we're closed for the day today. But in the meantime, if you have any questions and you'd like to ask those questions, you can call us at 323-293-3375 and have a conversation and speak with Joseph yourself. So,
cool. Is somebody calling in right now?
Yeah, I've been hearing a few calls.
And then no, they're not. I think that's you guys. That's not us. So Joseph, what would you say? What would be your advice to our community on how we can change our economic status? And I know that's a big question. That's very
big. That's very big. I think, like I said earlier, I just think the best way to do that is to support one another. We have to support one another. We have to put those dollars back in our community. We often talk about Black Wall Street. Well, one of the things that made Black Wall Street work in Tulsa, Oklahoma is that the dollar circulated at least 15 times before it left the community. But with us, when we make money now, that money almost automatically leaves the community. And we need to support one another. Don't think just because somebody is, but we have a negative stereotype, which comes from the Willie Lynch. And we have a Willie Lynchism even today, and we have negative stereotypes about African American in business. Oh, they don't know how to do business, or they don't know how to do. That's not true.
No, that's
Willie
not
Lynch
true.
syndrome. That's what we call it.
Willie Lynch syndrome, right? And that's not true. Most of us really know how to do what we're doing. We, those that are doing it for real, you just know how to do it. So we should support one another, and if we support one another, we could really begin to change our economic status overall. That's what my thing is. It's just we just got to support one another. The other thing that I think a lot of African American businessmen don't do is you have to market yourself. You have to promote your business.
Yes, you do.
You got to get out there and you got to tell people, if you got to get in a chicken suit and stand on Avalon and Imperial to tell people how great your business is, you got to tell people how great your business is. You got to tell them how great your service is. You got to promote. And at the end of the day, when you're tired of promoting, promote some more. You just got to
keep going.
And actually, one of the things with recycling, with the BusinessZone, we saw that for recycling Black dollars, we've been in the community for the last 29, 30 years, and our funding, pretty much comes from corporations within our city. Well, a lot of our corporations are no longer quite as generous as they used to be, so we had to increase our membership. So one of the reasons, and one of the reasons that for the BusinessZone is so that we could continue to talk about recycling Black dollars to a broader marketplace. And a podcast is probably by far one of the best ways to market your business. And you're bringing people on that's talking about your business, and you can talk about their business. So it's a win-win for all of us. But you're absolutely right. And
Yeah,
for me,
I mean, I believe in promoting. I mean, you got to promote, advertise, advertise, advertise,
right.
advertise.
Yep.
You need to make advertisement. One of the mistakes that I see so many small businesses make is that you need to make advertising like an employee.
Yes.
You know,
Interesting.
if your first employee should be an advertising campaign on a
Wow.
continuous,
Right.
ongoing basis, so that people know that you are there.
Mm-hmm.
If people don't know you're there, they can't support you, even if they are people that want to support African American businesses. They got to know you're there. So you got to put your commercial on cable. You got to get you something in the newspaper. You got to get you a press release out there. You got to do these kinds of things, because at the end of the day in business, the guy that promotes the most, and McDonald's has proven it, wins. And that's just the way it is. So I think that those are a couple things that I would totally suggest to any business is promote your business. Tell everybody, I'm the greatest car washer that there is. I'm the greatest maid ever. I tell anybody, I'm the greatest producer ever set foot. I know everything about TV. Ain't nothing about TV you can't ask me. I know everything about TV. I'm the greatest of all time.
Who was that?
You sound like Kanye West right there for a minute.
And isn't that Muhammad Ali? I'm the greatest.
Yeah,
He's been his whole career.
Joseph Collins, he stole that from me. See
Yeah.
that? He stole that from me. When I was in my crib, he was like, "What did you say?" I said, "I'm the greatest of all time." He said, "I'm going to use that, Joseph." I said, "Well, go on here."
So he stole that from you, huh? And earlier you said about us recycling our dollars. So at the top of the show, you hadn't called in yet. But our dollars actually only stay in our community for 6 hours. And that's really pretty sad.
That's bad. Yeah.
That's pretty sad. So that is the area that we have to work on. The mindset. I have a friend of mine right after President Obama was inaugurated. He had wanted to perform a presentation where we actually broke the chains off our minds. It was all in hypothetical. It was all in. With a big chain and a chain cutter, so that we could be free, because it's like we can't be free because we keep going back to our isms that keep us from going forward.
Right.
And I wanted to
100%.
Right. I wanted to make a comment on that. I think it basically boils down to what you said, Joseph, is the power of the mind is something that if we can get individuals to understand that. I mean, the difference between having a millionaire mindset and a poverty mindset is so different. I mean, if I offer you $50, would you say you're poor or rich? Most people would think, $50, I can't do anything with that. A millionaire mindset, $50, you're like, hey, compound interest. You're thinking about some financial concepts, right? So I think
I don't know if I could do that with $50 now. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, but just the smallest amount, because there is that perception that you have to have a lot of money to invest, and that I think that's just a negative perception.
It's a negative perspective.
Yeah,
and it's the mindset. I agree with that.
Most definitely. And there are books like Think and Grow Rich. There are. Yeah, there's books like you can listen to Bob Proctor, Les Brown. You got a lot of motivational speakers that once you understand the power of the subconscious mind, because we still have that Willie Lynch syndrome, and it's been programmed into our subconscious mind. So you're not aware of the habits that you have is dictated by your subconscious mind, but you also have the power to change that. And if you can go from a poverty mindset to a millionaire mindset, your life will just change. Law of attraction starts to work for you.
That's true.
Joseph, let me ask you, when you were growing up, obviously, because we are a product of who we are, our environment. Mm-hmm. So when you were growing up, were your parents that progressive, or so that
my dad was super blue collar. You get a job. You ain't no man till you get a job.
Oh,
okay. That was my
go to school, get a job, get an education.
I mean, my dad was you turn 18, you get the job. Period.
Okay.
I don't care if you work at McDonald's. You ain't a man until you got that job. I don't care where you work. Starting your business, that was not in his plan.
Okay.
But my mother was very progressive. So what my mother did for us at night is she would when we went to bed at night, she would play Zig Ziglar, and so we would listen to Zig Ziglar on a cassette tape.
Zig Ziglar, that's a good one.
All right.
Or she would play Brian Tracy, or she would play Earl Nightingale, Lead the Field. And so these things subconsciously, they just kind of mellow into your mind. So the music that we had in our house in the evening time was these cassette tapes that my mother played because she wanted to give us a different value set than somebody else. So even though you're playing with your Tonka cars or your trucks or whatever, these tapes are playing in the background, is going to get in you. And a lot of that really, got in me. So, and then my mother, we had reading time. So during reading time, we had to read Success Cybernetics, or we read O.G. Mandino, The Greatest Salesman in the World.
Oh, wow.
Or we read, I mean, these were the things that we had to read, or and then as I got older, it kind of like stuck with me in terms of trying to develop concepts that would work financially for me, or financially for what I wanted to do or how I wanted to do it.
That's fantastic. I actually am on a morning call, a spiritual call, and those are the audios that we listen to every morning. This morning we did Abraham Hicks, and that's something that we do, and it's about 80 or 90 of us on a call, and
Wow.
to help encourage, to change the mindset so that we can think, with more expansion, and also manifest what we need to bring into our lives. So
one thing about it, and you got to go to the Bible. The Bible, you speak things into existence into your life. So there were certain things that we just don't speak because we believe in the manifestation of words.
yes.
So words are so powerful until your very words could change your mood, or it could change what happens to you next, or it could change your whole situation in that way. So we really believed in the use of words. And my mother really believed in the use of words, although my mother cussed like a sailor, but she believed in using good words.
But she was using words.
So let me ask you a question, Joseph.
And she believed in that because you can speak things into your life. And so sometimes we have to be careful what we're speaking into our life. The Bible says, the power of life and death
is in the tongue.
Yeah.
is in the tongue.
It's in the
So
tongue.
you got to be careful what you speak into your life. So you only want to speak things into your life that edify your mind and your body. That's why I know that I'm the greatest. I'm just telling you, when God made me, he broke the mold. You see, I understand. There's not another man on this planet that's more handsomer than me. I haven't ran into him yet. So, you want to, speak things into your life and speak life into your life and speak life into your children. Sometimes we'll tell our children, you're so dumb, or you just like your daddy, or different kinds of things like that. And then that has a negative connotation in the minds of our children. And so, we want to speak positive things and speak life into things. And that's what we do. You can speak yourself into your position and then just live what you're speaking.
Exactly. And that actually, what you just said about, we are negative to our children, that actually is a mindset that came from slavery. That was the mothers protecting their children to make sure that they didn't stand out to the slave owner, that my child is this bright, brilliant young man. No, he's slow. He's demented. You don't want him. But without us even knowing, through our DNA fiber, we pass that down to our children.
Pass that down to the generations.
Yeah, to our generations.
Calvin, break that generational curse.
Calvin had a
Joseph,
question.
I have a question. Obviously, there's a lot of negative programming that's been out there with the gangster rap and this and that. And with this opportunity that you're launching, the Punch TV network or your vision, do you see this as an opportunity to institute some of the maybe positive entertainment and positive messages? I mean, you sound like a man of principle. So I'm assuming that will translate into your product. Is that correct?
I have to answer that very carefully. And let me say this, because we are a publicly traded company, right? I have to stick with the vision that I have for the company, and that's to make movies about people's lives that ordinarily would never be told. That is my vision for Punch TV Studios. And out of that is going to come some very positive things, and out of that is going to come some very negative things, But the idea is, can it inspire somebody's life? And we are about the inspiration of somebody's life but I have to do it fiscally responsible. Because if I don't turn out $1 billion a year in revenue, then my stockholders could be very disillusioned with the process. You don't want to invest $1 and it go to 20 cents. That's
exactly.
Right.
So you want to invest $1 and have it go to $700 a share. That's what you want.
Yes.
And so we don't want to. So at the same time, you have to stick with core vision and core values, but you have to do it in such a way that it makes revenue for the company and that the company makes a profit and that the revenues are high so that our shareholders will be happy. And then sometimes you just got to do things a little bit at a time. Okay, we're going to introduce this series, but at the same time, we're going to do these reality shows and we're going to do this and we're going to do that at the same time. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
That's kind of my approach. That's kind of my approach to that.
Now, most of the production studios, did they go public so soon, or
well, they had, you take the bigger guys like Warner Brothers, Sony, Viacom, and those types of companies like that, which we are now joining. They had capital. They were public for a long time. They started over 30 years ago, and they just became parts of acquisitions.
Right.
So what happens is you think that, okay, you take a Warner Brothers, for instance, right? Time Warner, Warner Brothers. And you say, well, here's a company that's generating $30 billion a year in revenue. Their stock price is about $80 a share. And you say, wow, that's a great company. But they're having real bad issues because now trying to grow at a 22% rate is very difficult the larger that you get. So now you make yourself an acquisition target for somebody else who's coming along, who's trying to grow the company. And now you create more wealth for everyone. So they've had access to capital that in our community we haven't had. This is our first time for Punch TV Studios having access to enough capital to where we could execute a meaningful business plan over a period of years and generate $1 billion or two a year, and then really look for some acquisitions and look for some things that we could, we can begin to expand. Because when you start trying to deliver 22% a year, the larger you get, the harder it is.
Right, exactly.
It's something to be said for being small, but in our particular market, you still have to grow at a consistent rate. And usually to maintain a stable stock price, you got, like, even me as a CEO, to maintain a stable stock price, I have to grow a company at 17 to 22% return a year.
Right,
and
exactly.
so that's a lot easier now than it will be if we make $1 billion. That's one of the things that that we consider.
And one of the things in our community right now we're as a collaboration of those in our community of community-based organizations. We have committed 8 Black lenders that are going to put up $10 million to create a capital fund, and the Milken Institute is going to put up the balance of the $5 million, and so that we, for the African American community, will have a $15 million fund, so that when our small businesses, our micro businesses, will have a place to go that are not locked into the criteria for the SBA, and so we're really excited about that.
Very smart move. I mean, the SBA has really lost focus, in my opinion.
Yes, they have.
And you become under these regulations that, a lot of African American men, especially if you're trying to start a business, you might have a great idea, but you got child support lingering on you, you got some bad credit, you got some other stuff going, you ain't gonna get that loan. It just ain't gonna happen, and you have no collateral.
Right.
You're probably not gonna get that loan.
Exactly. So that's why this was initiated, because they may not have the wherewithal that you have. And so most of our businesses are so undercapitalized that their businesses stagnate for, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So that was the purpose behind this. So we're really excited about that. And the fact that we're collaborating and working together to make a change within our own community.
And I like the Milken Foundation. Michael Milken has been one of my mentors. Rosie Greer is a good friend of mine. He works over at the Milken Foundation. Okay. And I'm really I'm happy to know that they're a part of it. I think if you can pull all the banks and things together to do that, we need those kinds of things. We need those kinds of differences in our community.
Yeah, because that's when we've done a series of round table, getting the voices from our small business owners, and the one common thread is we don't have enough capital. We can't move forward in order to grow our businesses. We can't hire. We can't do any of those things without the capital. So it became imperative that we put together. So the committee is working to put that together. So really excited.
I think that's awesome, completely awesome. I'm gonna stand in line. I'm gonna get a loan just cause.
Oh, just cause. Okay, I just called. Well, we're gonna take a quick station break, and then we're gonna wrap up your part, and then I'm gonna talk to this young man over here. And so, if you don't mind, hang on for a second, and we'll be right back.
Sure, absolutely.
All right,
Hello,
guys.
meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
The reason I'm involved with Miller Lite Tap the Future is because I think that they're giving resources to everyday people in the community, and they're changing lives, and other people are witnessing them changing lives as well.
Holding true should be something everybody practices, but especially entrepreneurs. Sticking to your beliefs and your core values. We all have our own experiences and our own thoughts that make us who we are. And holding true, especially as an entrepreneur, is what's going to make you different, it's what's make you stand out, it's gonna make you sustain as a business. And when things get tough, that's when you want to be holding true. That's when you want to go back to your core values.
Pretty early on, we had a lot of investors suggesting that we take the company one way or another. And it's against what we believed in our core was the right thing for Swift. And so we had to hold true to our business plan and our ideas, and it really turned out for the better.
There's been plenty of times where we could have been swayed. We really just didn't care what anyone else thought. We said, we're gonna make this happen, and we made it happen.
It's better to just hold true to your core purpose because you're obviously starting your business for a reason. Make sure you hang on to that.
In entrepreneurship, there's a lot of shiny objects, and if you hold true to what your purpose is and what value you want to bring, I feel like you're going to get much further than if you keep jumping from one thing to the other.
The resources from Miller Lite Tap the Future contest have been great. I think it was a big stepping off point for us. it was the first time where we started to get a lot of exposure to more brands. So I think that really got the ball rolling for us.
When you hold true to something, there's a real passion. Most entrepreneurs are out to solve a problem or a need that they found in the market. They're normally not out there just to make money. They're out there because they feel that they can do it better or it hasn't been done, and they need to hold true to this desire to make change.
And welcome back. We're glad to have you back on the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. Wow, there was a commercial I just aired, and I want to let everybody know, if you have a small business and you're looking for capital, now Joseph has told you how he got his. There are some opportunities out there that doesn't require the SBA. So one of them is Miller Lite Tap the Future Business Pitch Competition, and it is going on right now. You can go to MillerLiteTapTheFuture.com and submit your application. The deadline date is April 14th. There is a $100,000 grand prize if you are selected as the national winner. Before that, you submit your application. They will narrow it down to the finalists, and they will have a finalist out of each region. There's five regions, and you will have an opportunity to pitch that business to Damon John, who is on Shark Tank. And at that point, if they're selected, you win $20,000 for competing on the West Coast or any coast that you're on. And then you go to national and you compete with all the other similar finalists. So you have the opportunity of actually winning $120,000 in cash toward your company. And in addition to that, you will have your mentor partners as Miller Lite, and it doesn't matter what business, what industry, just long as you're 21 years of age. So you just made the cut, young man. And
just turned 22.
You just turned 22. You just made the cut. And really the businesses, because we're in the modern day age, so businesses that are in technology or biofuel or solar, or those have probably more of a likelihood. But any business that you want to pitch and you have written your business plan and you present it and you have great presentation skills, can get you in at least the semifinals. So
would that include service businesses? Because
service
obviously you
well.
mentioned we have a lot of service businesses in the community. So
yeah. And last year I had the opportunity, 2 years ago I had the opportunity to be a judge. And then last year I was invited as one of the marketing partners. Recycling Black Dollars. Mohammed Nazardine actually went to Miller Lite 14 years ago and said, we don't want you to feed us. We want you to teach us how to fish. So we want you to provide a competition that our business owners can put together their business so we can create businesses. And it's a concept that I like to see other corporations do the same thing. So that's one of the ways to acquire money for your business, acquire capital for your business without going through a loan process.
Powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful.
So, Brandon, tell us about how you became a youth representative for Mark Ridley, for the neighborhood.
I guess I'm done.
Are you done? Are you still there? Hey, there you go, Joseph. We lost you there for a minute.
Oh, no, I thought I was done. Am I done? I'm good. Thank you. I'll see you guys later.
No, don't go yet. We're going to ask Brandon how he became
all right.
22 years old and appointed as a youth representative for the neighborhood. What is it? The
Empowerment Central area.
And what does that mean, and what do you do?
So I'll tell you first how I ended up getting elected. Becoming an elected city official. I was going to a business meeting, actually going to a recording studio. And this guy, I didn't know who he was. He was dressed really nice. And he told me, hey, how would you think about being a part of the city council board? And I said, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And from there, started a campaign. Have people, it's the same process as if you were to run for president.
Oh, so you campaigned?
Yeah, so I had a campaign. People voted for me, and then now today I'm an elected official. I became one of the youngest African Americans out of 96 councils in California.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm even more impressed. Now, let me tell you how I met him. I sit on the board of a tennis a nonprofit, and we're sending 12 children to the ATA national celebration, our centennial, 100 years, and that's the African American branch of the Tennis Association, because we couldn't play with the white people, so we had to create our own. So we're sending 12 children to Baltimore to play in the tournament, and so we're raising funds. But the park where he was doing a meeting, and they're actually going to sponsor our nonprofit Pete Brown Junior Tennis Program. And that's how I met him. And I was just so impressed with talking to him in the 10 minutes, and it was taken away from my tennis game. So, I was doing a whole lot to be over there and not on the tennis court.
Right.
Let me tell you.
I think it was a block club summit that we had.
Yeah, the block club summit. Yeah, block club summit. So the president of our nonprofit, he wanted me to meet you guys. And so I told him he had 5 minutes. That's all he had of my tennis time was 5 minutes. But it was very important because we're going to be granted. You guys are going to support our youth program. So thank you very much.
And I'm the youth representative. So hey,
that's fantastic.
Two and two together.
I have a question for Joseph. Joseph, how do you have interns and mentorship programs at Punch TV? Because maybe this is an opportunity to put the word out on the street to the community that there are maybe opportunities at this point. So.
No, absolutely. We have a working partnership with Inglewood High School.
Oh,
and
wow.
We do paid internships here. And so with our paid internships, they come and they work 3 hours in the evening from 3 to 6. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I enjoy it. We have about 6 students at a time that come through here, and that gives them a little money for what they're doing. And so we're always looking for great interns, always.
Okay, fantastic.
Nice.
Okay, that's great. Inglewood High, they do they have a cinema program over there?
I think they just opened a media program.
Okay.
And so we are championing that program with them.
Oh, okay, fantastic. My nephew is it's in a cinema program at West LA College right now. That's the area that he wants to go into.
Nice.
Yeah, so maybe I'll send him over there, and maybe he'll apply for an internship with Punch TV as well.
That'll be incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Any other questions for Joseph?
No, I know he's a very busy man, so
and
maybe.
You guys got me, man, for this day. Thank you guys.
We
so
are
much.
just so pleased that you accepted our offer to be a guest today. Thank you so much, and it has been so informative. I can't wait to upload the YouTube video so everyone else that couldn't hear you on Facebook Live will get to hear and see you.
You can tell that young man there next to you, just leave that tie. That's a nice looking tie. I think I could look better with that tie.
Well, let me see, Joseph. What was the words? What was his phrases you're taking from him? Do you remember them? What was that phrase that you said that he's?
Was it the Willie Lynch syndrome?
No. There was a phrase that you're gonna, and now you want his tie too?
Yeah, I want the tie too. I want the phrase and the tie.
The phrase and the tie.
God bless you guys. Have a wonderful night.
Well, thank you so much, Joseph. We're so appreciative. And congratulations on everything that you're doing, and we're looking forward to hearing all the other great things that's going to take place at Punch TV.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Wow. That was a great interview. I'm very pleased. Thank you so much for bringing him. And I think a lot of people had questions. I even had questions. And as we were saying earlier, if there was anyone that thought that there was some scam, I think he was very authentic and very genuine in his studio and believing that he's the greatest, and that I think is an amazing opportunity, and I think is a great it will be great for our community as well.
And a lot of people, like you said, they had a chance to see and hear this individual, and he's definitely somebody who's about to do some big things, because when you go public, That is a big thing.
Oh,
So,
yeah, just the mere fact that he's an IPO is really huge. People don't realize how big that is. And generally that's been only happening with tech companies because of the fact that, they're disruptive, they're different, and people know that they're